right, so I'm going to talk a little bit here, as if everybody loves to hear me talk, you know. A few people that like to hear me talk. I've gotten some awesome compliments for that, saying I should do public speaking without the bad language, you know, it'd be all right. So what I want to talk about is something, and it's a question that I get asked all the time. Aren't you afraid of John Deere coming and, you know, like busting you for repairing your stuff? No, the answer to that is no, not at all. Right to repair, you know, oh, you don't even have the right to repair your own equipment. That is far from the truth. Far, far from the truth. And I'll tell you why. Why is it far from the truth? Well, if you purchase it, it is yours, right? I purchased the repair on this transmission, whatever. This is a ZF transmission. John Deere's not allowed to touch this transmission due to an agreement that they had between the German manufacturer known as ZF, or a lot of people call it ZF, but it is ZF transmission. So John Deere entered into agreement with ZF and said, hey, you know what? We need we like your transmission. We want to put it in our 6,000 series, not 7,000 series, possibly even the 5,000 series. I don't know. There's some variation of something, and anything that's IVT in the 6,000 and 5,000 series tractors. My 7530 is technically, that has a ZF transmission, but like 7930s, that's totally different transmission, totally different. That's actually a John Deere IVT. This is a ZF, Vario as they call them. Excuse me, I still have a cough from COVID. So with John Deere not being able to service this, technically John Deere or myself can take this thing out and then send it to a certified parts installer or back to ZF for a renan fee. I can get it from Abilene Machine. I can get it from Deere. John Deere will sell me this transmission for the grand total price of somewhere around $35,000 or $36,000. The core of this thing is about $6,000. Abilene Machine with the core is $21,000, so there's $6,000 off of that, so that's $27,000. Or you find somebody like Michael Burkholder or Burkholder Tractor Parts or Tractor Repair, and they know people and they have avenues to get these parts. I do know for a fact that I could have got the parts for this transmission from Caterpillar for a Caterpillar price, which is double of what the parts here are. The reason I sent this out to Burkholder Tractor Parts or Tractor Repair is because Michael's done hundreds, if not thousands of these things. He has a lot of spare parts, a lot of used parts that are good. And there are two shafts in this thing that were in another tractor at some point in history because of the problems that you've seen already, I believe, on the other videos. If I haven't posted them yet, you will see it, but if you have seen it, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. But the right to repair has nothing to do with the iron. It has nothing to do with any of the electronics. It doesn't even have anything to do with this transmission that is a third-party transmission anyway. What it has to do with is software, okay? So ZF provides the transmission, and this transmission is in a Deutz. I believe it's in an AGCO product of some sort, and it's also in Caterpillar equipment and probably various other pieces of equipment around the world. Who knows? Shit that I don't even know about. So this transmission is ZF. I can work on this transmission. I can. If I can find the parts, I can work on this transmission. If I qualify for a certified parts installer through ZF, I can buy all the parts for this transmission. Unfortunately, when I said John Deere, they said no. If I'd have said any other manufacturer like Deutz or Caterpillar, no, probably not Caterpillar, but Deutz or AGCO, they probably would have accepted my application for a certified parts installer, and I could have possibly been able to buy the parts for this thing. This is a ZF, I think it's a 2. I forget what the number is, 2.4, 2.5, 2.8, 2.2. It's not a 2.0, it's the next one up, 2. Whatever. That's what it is. Maybe it says so. Doesn't say so. No, it doesn't say anything on there. I'd have to look it up. Anyway, that's how much it means to me. I don't really care what model it is because it's fixed and I'm ready to go back in. So with John Deere, AGCO, New Holland, and every other manufacturer around the world that has software proprietary to their pieces of equipment, they will not allow farmers access to that software. Now, I will say this, if you're savvy with the command center within your tractor, like you know how to get into the dealer modes, you can do a lot. You can diagnose a whole lot more if you know what you're looking for. What John Deere does though is they plug into their computer, and that gives, you know, access to all the information that is on your tractor. They can even change the hours on the clock through John Deere, and that's what they're preventing. They don't want people to go in and change the hours that are on the clock for the transmission or the whole entire machine, and they're protecting themselves that way. All of them are. It's not just John Deere. I hear nothing but John Deere, because John Deere is the one that they chose to sue. They could have sued any other manufacturer. They really could have, because they're all the same. It doesn't matter. It's like Ford and Chevy, you know. Ford doesn't say, oh, with the new purchase of your brand new F-350 with a 7.3 liter Godzilla motor, which is awesome, by the way, here is your software package so that you can go in and change the timing, the fuel to air ratios, everything that you could possibly change from a laptop computer. They don't do that because it's proprietary software. That is what they're talking about, right to repair. It really shouldn't be called right to repair. It should be called right to diagnose. Right to diagnose. Through that computer system, you can turn on and turn off certain things, like, I don't want my diesel exhaust fluid anymore. You don't even have to delete that shit. You don't have to take it off. You can just go into the computer and go, tick, 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 and boom, you shut it off, and you disable the pump and the sensors and everything. You can even unplug them after that. That's what they're trying to prevent. So the government's kind of involved in this as well, because it would make a lot of farmers say, hey, why am I strangulating my tractor for this government juice that I got to put in there? And I can just get this software and delete it all, and then I don't have to buy DEF. I don't have to buy, or diesel exhaust fluid, DEF. You don't have to buy DEF. You can do a whole lot of stuff through that computer. So right to repair should be right to diagnose and modify through the electronics. And it's every manufacturer, it's not just John Deere. John Deere's not going to come in through here with a couple of FBI agents and handcuff me and throw me in the back of their car and take me off to prison because I'm fixing my tractor. They don't do that. That's not a thing. Now, if I was to delete any of the emissions control stuff on any of these pieces of equipment, EGR valves, DEF, diesel exhaust fluid, and DPFs, diesel particulate filters. If I was to delete any of those things, remove them from the tractor, and I'll pop the hood, it's all up and under there. Is it worth the amount of money that they can fine me, to delete all this crap? It isn't. To me, it's not. It's like, you know what? So I rebuild an engine. What's it cost me? I get a fresh engine when it's all said and done at say 15 to 20,000 hours. I'm good to go. So anyway, that's what they're trying to avoid. That's what they're trying to prevent. I honestly believe that John Deere is going to lose. And then they're going to have to, they're not going to lose, they're going to have to modify what they say. Like, okay, after the tractor's 10 years old, and this is another thing that can really fuck with everybody, is if they do this right to repair or right to diagnose thing, the computer software, if they release that computer software, then anybody can get into it. So at that point, when they do that, there should not be any fines for anything that a farmer does to their tractor. But it could come back to bite us. Bite everybody in the ass. In the back here, there's two tractors. One was built in 1963 or 4, and the other one was built in 1972. There is electronics on those tractors, believe it or not. The electronic solenoids for the injection pump for the 4320, and the 4010 that's got a couple of thermal couplers. They're just basic stuff. John Deere didn't at that time have any software in those tractors, and you can do whatever you want to those, and it's just and I'm going to get into the second part of this thing. It's just a matter of a good mechanic knowing what the issue is and diagnosing it using this computer. So when you go into the John Deere dealer, and I am not in any way knocking the technicians or parts hangers at John Deere. I'm not. You guys do a phenomenal job. It's just you've never learned the skill of diagnosing with this computer. You always just plug in. I'm not saying you're all like that, and there's a lot of really good guys. I got a really nice fellow out here at Deere Country, and he has a wealth of knowledge in his head. He could technically probably have diagnosed this problem. Well, I diagnosed the problem with a little help from my friends, but for the most part, I knew that there was a problem with this transmission. I had a little bit of help with gauges and the numbers that I could not access because of the right to repair. I would have had to purchase and I did purchase it, the service manual. The 6210R, I can go to John Deere and say, hey, I need a service manual, a paper service manual and advisories for the 6210R 2012 model. They'll sell it to you. It's going to cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I do believe that if I really wanted to, I could pay the big money to John Deere, Case, New Holland, whatever the hell they are, Deutz and all those. I could pay the big $20,000, $30,000 for the software that it would take to repair a single series of tractors. So each series of tractors, this is a 6000 series, 6210. So it's the 6210R, the 6190, the 6200, all those different tractors. That is a series. The 6000 series of tractors comes on one software package, which you can plug into your tractor, and it does that series. You move up to the 7000, then you're going to spend another $20,000, $40,000, $50,000 for that service advisory and all that. All of those. Same thing with the 8000, the 9000, the 5, the 4. All of those different series come with a package. So if you were going to go to John Deere and say, hey, I want to buy the software for this, they may or may not sell it to you. I don't know. I didn't try, but I've been told that it's stupid money to buy that software because they don't want the average Joe to get it. Now, you can get some software out of Hong Kong, China, for these tractors. It's bootlegged from John Deere. It's the latest and greatest software for these tractors. You can also get them out of the Ukraine. Ukraine's in the news an awful lot lately. And but the Ukraine, there's a Ukrainian company that has hacked John Deere's software systems, and for $1,500, a guy like me could download it from the Ukraine for you know, $1,500, and then I can work on all 6000 series tractors. All I got to do, and it is available through that company and another company in Germany, the pigtail or the plug to plug into your Isobus terminal. So, and once you do that, you're in, and you can do anything you want. It even comes up, hey, John Deere. You know, it says John Deere right on it. You can't decipher it. I don't do that. I don't need to, because I know how to work the command center, and I know how to write down codes and decipher codes, and generally I can be within 2 sensors of the problem when I do that. So you've watched me do a lot of things, and I'm also very observant, and I talk to people. But like the pump on the front of that 7530, what was wrong with that tractor? Well, it was fine when it was cold. When it warmed up, the oil thins out and it would lose pressure. Well, that's a pump. Which pump is it? Is it the primary pump, or the charge pump, or is it the pump on the front of the transmission? So you go into your command center and you write down all the codes, and 99% of the time I am correct. There were 2 things wrong with the 7530. The pump, which I replaced and fixed all the problems, and then there's a little thermostat for the bypass valve for cold oil. That gets replaced as well. I have one over here. I showed you guys this before. Where the heck is it? This little guy here. See that little thing right there? That little bastard is like 200 bucks. Yeah, 200 bucks for that thing. I'm going to take that out to Michael Burkholder Tractor Parts. They said that they would take that off of my bill because they put a new one in, and they're like, oh yeah, just hey, we'll take it off the bill. This is anaerobic Loctite 574 anaerobic sealer. I bought this for the 7530. This was for the when I did the brakes on the 7530. I still have them I'm going to use that on this transmission in the back because it takes anaerobic sealer for this back part and the drop box. So yeah, we've got that. Anyway, as far as right to repair, and I know this is getting a little long-winded and I'll probably cut it off here pretty soon. It is the misconception that you're not allowed to turn a bolt on your tractors. That is not it at all. You can buy every part for your tractor as long as it's not an IVT, but you know, if it's not an IVT. But if it's a quad range or quad range or a power shift or any of those other tractors, this is the IVT. You can get those parts through John Deere. You can replace them. You can even ask nicely to the technician and he'll print off the service and the spec sheets for the parameters or the specifications for each thing, and he'll even tell you how to recalibrate it if you're really nice to him. Buy him a case of beer or a cheesecake or something, you know, for Christmas. But yeah, if you're really nice to your technicians, they'll help you out that way if you're working on it. It's probably frowned upon by John Deere, but for the most part, maybe a couple of times I have talked to different technicians over the years, and they have given me good ideas, and I did have sheets printed out for all the stuff that I had. I needed to get these sheets printed out so that I could track down my problems. The 7530 had a CAN bus terminator problem, and I was like, it's got to be a CAN bus terminator. I don't know where they are. There's 5 of them, and the guy at John Deere was nice enough to print off the map of where these wires were, and I was able to get that ironed out. Now, he's like, look, he says the tractor's got, what, 6,000 hours on it. You got one of them going bad. They're not really that expensive. They're like 70 bucks a piece. There's 5 of them on the whole tractor. I called up and said, give me 5 of those CAN bus terminators, and I replaced them all. I don't know which one is bad. Honestly, I don't. But it doesn't matter because I just changed all 5 of them, or 5 or 6 of them, however many there were. And my tractor runs perfectly now because when CAN bus terminators start to go, if one goes, the rest of them will go. If you don't know what a CAN bus terminator is, it's a little box, and the only way I can explain it is there's like 4 wires in the CAN bus system, right? 4 wires. And all of your controllers are attached to those 4 wires, and they signal to the main ECU or TCU or PTI, whatever the hell it is. Whatever controllers that they signal from the other controllers to the main computer to tell it to do a function. All right? So what it does is it sends a signal down, it sends a signal back, but it's on the same 4 wires that all the other ones are using. So a CAN bus terminator, if it does not arrest it, I should say arrest, it's like a tube, an echo tube, and you know when you're a kid and you get the wrapping paper tube and you go hello, and you can hear it echo through there. Well, if it echoes through there, without the CAN bus terminator, it would just continue to echo and get louder and louder, bounce back and forth until finally it overloads the system, throws a bunch of codes, and shuts your tractor down. That's what the CAN bus terminators do. Is so when this controller talks to that controller, it sends it back, and then the CAN bus terminator basically arrests it or deletes it, and they can move very quickly with very few wires doing this whole operation. One of them goes down, you're screwed. Now, right to repair or diagnose, as I say, would have helped a whole lot in that, because all that had done was call up John Deere. They would have, you know, said, hey, look, you know, if I had the software, then I could just plug in and it would say, oh yeah, CAN bus terminator for the TCU or the HCU is malfunctioning, and it only does it when it gets warm. So, you know, it's going to throw those codes, but it's only going to do it when it's warm, so you can go to work in the morning, but in the afternoon you're fucked. But if we had access to the software, we would definitely been able to plug it in, diagnose the problem, order one, put it in, and save $300 on the other 4. But whatever. is what it is, right? I'm happy that I spent the money on all of them because I haven't had a lick of trouble with that tractor since. But the big thing is John Deere made like $3 billion on $3 billion or $5 billion on parts sales, and then the dealerships make the money on the service calls. So if I'd have called up John Deere and said, hey, look, I've got a problem with this tractor, I need you to come out and service it, it's $600 or $800 for the day. That's what it is. For him to come out here, put it on the computer, check it out, and go back and then do his research at home, back at the shop, and then call me up and say, hey, this is what it is. You want me to send you the parts, or do you want me to come back out? Oh, I need you to come back out. Here's $1,600 just in a service call because we don't have the right to plug in and go. Do I care? Not really. I mean, I'm pretty good at figuring shit out, but there's a lot of guys that are not. And that's where the right to repair, diagnose, whatever you want to call it, is kind of important, because when you're spending $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, even $600,000, $800,000 on one tractor, or $600,000, $800,000 on one combine, or whatever it is you're spending $1 million on, you spend that kind of money and one stupid foul up with a computer sensor, and you've got to wait 2 days to get that machine up in the field, or you pull out your computer that you bought from John Deere that doesn't cost $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. It costs you, say, $1,500. It's a little handheld thing that you plug in, and it says, oh, okay. All right, so it says that my heater is kicking on, and it shouldn't be because it's 100 degrees outside, and that's fouling up the whole system. You can be down for 2 days over a heater. My 7530, there was a heater control unit, a heater or a climate control unit in under the seat. It took me, what? That stupid little fucking control unit, excuse my language, that fucking control unit was $600 for him to come out and diagnose it. It was $600 for him to come out and do it, put it in, and the stupid controller, I had like 4 of them because every one of them was different. Supersede, 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 new hoses, new controller, new diverter valves, and all this crap for what, a heater? Well, I will tell you this, if you've got one of these tractors in the summertime, July, turn that heat on. Turn it on and turn it back. Just turn it up until you feel heat and then turn it back. You will save a lot of money, because what happens is if there's any kind of corrosion in your cooling lines, it's going to go to that heater gate valve, that electronically controlled gate valve. It's going to seize it up, and you're not going to have you're not going to have a tractor with heat, and it's going to cost you $2,000, $3,000 to get it fixed. Real stupid. But anyways, 23 minutes is enough of me yammering on about right to repair. I hope you learned something. If you didn't, I can't help you, and if you did, just hit a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not.